Welcome back to ISTELive 22 coverage. I'm here at SchoolStatus with Leslie, and this is a tool that I'm very interested in. It's really all about communication and communicating with all stakeholders in schools and in education in general. So welcome to ISTE, I guess. I hope it's going well so far, and tell us a little bit more about SchoolStatus.
Yeah, so thanks, Dan. SchoolStatus is a K-12 software that is designed to pull data in from multiple different sources. So we're talking student information system, benchmarks, state assessments, giving educators a complete picture of their students. From there, call, text, email, and video chat with parents. We remove barriers to communication like requiring an app to download, needing parents to opt in, or parents are inundated with information from various sources, and it's hard to know where to go to communicate just with their teacher. If they don't speak English, if they work two jobs and it's hard to find ways and time to communicate with parents, we're about removing those barriers. With our tool, there's no app to download. You're going to send a good old-fashioned phone call, text message, and email to really build relationships with parents. And some of those, the unengaged parents that we might not have been able to engage otherwise.
Can you explain that a little bit more? You just said there's no app to download. So how would the communication work then?
Yeah, so teachers and principals, anyone that has a SchoolStatus account, can log in, and then it is scoped according to their access. So teachers have access to their courses, so we sync with their student information system. We know who your students are. Principals and assistant principals will have a whole school. District has the whole district. And from there, you can go to the student record, hit the call button. Your computer becomes a speakerphone. Or you can use the cell phone option where your cell phone is kind of the conduit in between. Or you can use our app, phone call, text message, and email, but we're masking the educator's phone number in the process. So their personal phone number is not given out to the parent when they communicate. It's a two-way, so the parent can respond back, and it goes straight to that teacher. It's all logged and recorded on the student card.
Where does the intersection happen between gathering the data on students and integrating with the SIS, the information system, and SchoolStatus?
Yeah, so when we first started with SchoolStatus, there was a need to get a complete picture of a student. And you've got your SIS, and you've got the exports and the reports that come out of there. You've got your benchmark assessments, you've got your state assessments. It's hard to get a complete picture of student data without logging into 3 or 4 places. So that was the first need that we saw. So we built the integration of, we're going to pull the data out of the SIS, and we're just going to marry that up with all the other data so that educators can see a complete picture of a student. And we thought, okay, that's great, that's cool, data's cool. Data-driven decisions is a very buzzy term, or it has been for a while. And, we saw that there was no action from the data. What are we doing with data? What is the point of all of this gathering of data? And for us, it was building the bridge from home and school. So communicating seamlessly with parents, giving teachers these tools to communicate in a one-to-one capacity, in a group capacity, and district level for the whole school or district capacity, and make parents feel as stakeholders, as part of the community, building a community of inclusion and building relationships with parents, really just for student success.
As a parent myself, I know how different but important it was during the pandemic, even the unfortunate circumstances that we were in where everyone was learning and working from home. But on a positive note, I told people it gave me a better glimpse into who my own kids were as students. Sometimes parents don't necessarily see that unless there is clear communication and that two-way communication, like you said, between the school and home. Can you give us just like an example and some anecdotal evidence maybe about how SchoolStatus works in that regard, where you're really allowing the schools and districts to communicate to parents how their kids are learning and how they're succeeding in school?
Absolutely. One of our most used features is our picture messaging tool. So with our text messaging feature, you can attach a picture. So, who doesn't want a picture of their child doing amazing things in the classroom? So that's a way that teachers often talk about how amazing it is to use SchoolStatus to bring parents in, because like you said, when you drop your kid off at school, you don't really know, they act one way at home, but are they acting that same way in the classroom? And to be able to feel, and my district uses SchoolStatus, so I get the added benefit of being a parent that receives those text messages and knowing that I have a direct connection to my kid's teacher. It's a relief for me. If I need something, I know where to find them. I mean, I even have anecdotal stories of my own. My daughter cracked her head open, so it was kind of like showed up, and it looked kind of gnarly for a minute, and she was real self-conscious about it. So we put a bandana on it. She didn't want to go to school. I texted the teacher with SchoolStatus. I said, hey, she's really self-conscious about this. Can you just please help ease her mind about it? She says, absolutely. By the end of the day, my teacher's sending me pictures of my kid, the bandana off, living her life, just loving, being who she was. And it was just such a relief for me to know that I could one-to-one reach out to my teacher in that capacity, and I didn't have to send a note with her. I didn't have to worry about her. I knew that she was in good hands because the teacher was communicating with me.
So as parents, we're happy because it opens the lines of communication better between what we're doing with our own biological kids and or what our teachers are doing with their kids, right? Does it add to the teacher's plate? How do the teachers feel about using it? Because I would imagine that it might be a little bit extra, but also at the same time bringing parents really truly in as partners in that process of educating their kids. Just, what do the teachers feel about it?
Yeah, so it's funny because a lot of times administrators think that it will be a burden to their teachers. And in fact, it can be a barrier to, adding on a tool like this. Like, oh, my teachers are already inundated with software. We cannot put another login on them. And we get that. We totally get that. There's certainly information overload at times, or just app overload, initiative overload. But what we hear directly from our teachers is it saves them time. It actually makes their life more efficient, because it's a one-stop shop. And I didn't come up with that term. We didn't come up with that term. Our users came up with that term. They say it over and over. SchoolStatus is a one-stop shop. I log in one place. I get a complete picture of my student. I can communicate with their parents. It's logged and recorded. They rave about the documentation, that it's just natural to SchoolStatus. They don't have to keep a call log or a text log or anything like that. So, I would say you have to try it to understand just how much of a burden it lifts from teachers.
That's fair. And I also was thinking one-stop shop, right? We're talking about pulling in all the student information and data and allowing everybody, educators, parents, to really open those lines of communication. For anyone watching or listening, if they want more information, they're interested in SchoolStatus, even just learning more about it, where do they go? Who do they contact?
Yeah, so visit our website, www.schoolstatus.com, or email answers@schoolstatus.com, and somebody will get you the necessary information you need.
Leslie, thank you so much. This has been SchoolStatus from ISTELive 22. Thanks a lot.